This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
So what do we make of the build-to-rent sector? Is it addressing a desperate shortage of rental properties, or is it taking land, money and resources away from providing houses for first-time buyers? Natalie Elphick is Chief Executive of the Housing and Finance Institute, which works with the private and public sector to build more homes. Hello, Natalie.
Hello.
And Martin Bellinger is Chief Operating Officer of Essential Living, one of the UK's first build-to-rent developers. Hello, Martin.
Hello.
Martin, the overall essence of this is that renting over a very long term is seen somehow in this country as a bit of a failure.
Yeah, I think that's right. And the build-to-rent developers, the purpose-built build-to-rent developers like my company, Essential Living, we're trying to change that stigmatism. We're trying to say that rent is, recognising that rent is the fastest growing sector of the market, as your piece just said. That currently rental can appear as a bad deal and a disparate offer, and often it's quite badly managed. We're trying to establish a genuine alternative, which is a professionally managed and maintained product designed specifically for rent from the outset. So it's not a sale unit that's then been rented out. We have things like equal-sized rooms designed for sharers built in. We have amenities such as residence lounges and workspaces designed into the buildings from the outset.
Yeah, Natalie, then, with proper controls and supervision, renting long-term for years on end is an option for a lot of families, isn't it?
Well, I think as your clip just explained, Mrs Thatcher said quite rightly, it's a question of where you spend government money. And this is an area in this particular sector, in the build-to-rent sector, where government has been spending time, money, resource, skills and land since 2009. So, we're 8 years on for a sector that's had a lot of attention and support, from task force to special government programmes to subsidised finance. It's had a whole lot of things to allow it to get off the ground. And I think the question now is, with so many people who want to move into a home of their own, and an affordable home at that, should there be more finance, more attention on that sector, on helping people into their own home?
Martin, what do you make of that?
Well, I think the difference with renting is that it can cater for a range of incomes. It's not just for single young professionals. It's not just for people who are on a stepping stone or a go-between trying to get into the housing for sale market. We're not trying to decry home ownership as an aspiration or an ambition. What we're trying to do is to provide additional accommodation for the rental market for people who need it. Our development at Greenwich Creekside is used as a case study in the housing white paper, and there we have a product called discounted market rent, which offers a range of rents at a discount to open market value, designed at people on all kinds of incomes. They enjoy the same entrances and amenities in the building to the people who are paying full market rent, and there's no stigmatism against them. So I think in that respect, renting is a little bit more flexible.
The problem is, though, Martin, you are a business after all, and how receptive are you to any level of rent control over the long term?
Well, I think rent control is not something that the institutional investors who are supporting the developers in this market see favourably, developers like my own. I think and certainly there's nothing in the white paper today to suggest that that's in the offing. I think a more sensible approach is to have some management around rental increases, and that is something that is generally supported across the sector.
Yeah, Natalie, you are continuing this stigma, as Martin pointed out earlier on, that actually if you do choose to rent, that's the second-class option in life.
What I think we have to look at in terms of creating additionality, and that's a really important word that was just used, is that we're making choices about not just where government funding is going, but also now in today's white paper about the allocation of land at a local level. And when I work with councils, when I go to many places up and down the country, it is the case that many people want an affordable home ownership option. Many of those characteristics that were just described about having high quality property, about being able to, have a nice place, that's exactly what can be provided.
But why shouldn't public money go to those who can only afford to rent?
Well, public money does go to those who can afford to rent.
You're saying it should be diverted, or a section of it should be diverted.
There is an affordable rent programme, and that's not what we're talking about here. That's not the government programme to affordable rent. What we're talking about here is a programme to help commercial build to rent, which is building up big portfolios for institutional investors and other managers.
Okay, and that's the point, Martin. You've got a captive audience once these properties are built, and you've got people committed to long-term rent, i.e. those that rent for, say, 10 years or so, and then have simply no means at all of buying their own house. Then they are a captive audience, and who knows what might happen to their rents.
I disagree. I think that you can't ignore the demographic changes, that have occurred in this country, particularly, they are more acute in London and the South East. But we have a situation now where in London and the home counties, the average age of a first-time home buyer is about 39. There's a change in the structure of the market. People are renting for far longer, and they're tending to enter the ownership market at a later point in life, usually when they've settled down with a partner or even had a family. And I think that renting needs to up its game, and the build-to-rent product that we do is seeking to do that.
All right, Martin, got to end it there. Martin Bellinger and Natalie Elphick, thank you very much indeed. 85058. If you're listening to this and you live in rental property, do you sense a shift in this nation? The figures there, the proportion of families with children in private rented sectors increased from 29% to 37% in just over a decade. Have we changed the way we live in this country? 85058 at BBC 5 Live, 5:17.